Welcome to Emma's English.
Hey English learners, welcome back to Emma's English Talk, your cozy little place to learn real everyday English through natural conversations. I'm Emma.
And I'm Tom.
We are so happy to have you here with us today for another casual chat.
Yes, indeed. And today we are talking about something that happens to all of us when we go shopping.
That is right, Tom. We are talking about the high-stakes world of picking the perfect produce.
It really does feel like high stakes sometimes, doesn't it?
It absolutely does, especially when you have a specific meal in mind.
Oh, I know exactly what you mean, like when you want to make guacamole.
Yes, that is the ultimate test of your grocery store skills.
You go to the avocado section and you just stand there staring at them.
Staring and praying that you make the right choice.
Because if you choose wrong, your whole dinner plans are ruined.
Exactly. You either end up with a rock-hard green ball or a brown, mushy mess.
I had that exact experience last Tuesday when I wanted to make a salad.
Really? Did you buy a bad avocado?
I bought 2 of them and both of them were completely black inside.
That is the worst feeling because they look so promising on the outside.
It's like a betrayal of trust by a fruit.
I know, you feel personally offended by the supermarket.
And then you feel guilty for wasting your money, too.
We have all been there, Tom, and today we want to share our struggles and some funny stories about it.
I think our listeners will really relate to this because everyone eats.
Well, most people eat fresh fruit and vegetables, or at least they try to.
Trying is the key word here, Emra.
Yes, because the grocery store can be a very intimidating place.
Especially the produce aisle where everyone is watching you.
Do you really feel like people are watching you, Tom?
Absolutely. I feel like there's a lot of silent judgment.
Like when you squeeze a peach and then put it back.
Yes, I feel like the person next to me is thinking, why did he touch that?
Well, you have to touch them to know if they're good.
But it still feels like a secret test that I'm failing.
Today, we are going to talk about all of these little struggles.
And we will also share some useful English phrases along the way.
So grab a cup of tea or coffee and join us for today's chat.
Let us dive right into the produce aisle.
I'm ready if you are, Tom.
Let's do it.
So, Tom, let us start with the legendary avocado because it is the king of difficult produce.
I agree. It is definitely the most stressful item on my shopping list.
Every time I stand in front of that big display, I feel like my decision is hit or miss.
Hit or miss? So you mean it is completely unpredictable, like sometimes it works out well and sometimes it is a total failure, right?
Yes, exactly. You never know what you are going to get until you actually cut it open at home.
That is so true. It is like playing the lottery, but with food.
And the problem is that you cannot open it in the store to check.
Imagine if someone did that, just cutting open avocados in the middle of the supermarket aisle.
They would probably get kicked out of the store immediately.
But seriously, how do you decide which one to buy when you are there?
Well, first, I look at the color of the skin.
Okay, so you look for the very dark green ones?
Yes, but only if I want to eat them on the same day.
Because if they're too green, they are not ripe yet.
Exactly. And when a fruit is ripe, it means it is fully developed and ready to be eaten.
Yes, a ripe fruit is always much softer and sweeter.
But when it is too dark, almost black, it might be overripe and mushy.
So it's a very narrow window of perfection?
It really is. Sometimes it feels like that perfect state only lasts for about 10 minutes.
I swear I have bought an avocado that was hard in the morning and rotten by the evening.
That has happened to me too. It's like they skip the perfect stage completely just to annoy us.
I'm glad I'm not the only one who thinks that.
You are definitely not alone, Tom.
What about the gentle squeeze test? Do you do that?
I do, but you have to be very careful not to bruise the fruit.
Right, because if everyone squeezes it too hard, the fruit gets ruined for the next person.
Yes, and that is why I always feel a bit guilty doing it.
I try to do it very quickly and secretly so no one notices.
You look like a secret agent trying to defuse a bomb.
That is exactly how it feels in my head.
But there is actually another trick that some people swear by.
Oh, really? What is that?
You can pop off the little stem at the top of the avocado.
The little brown button at the end?
Yes, if you pull it off and it's green underneath, it's good.
Wow, I did not know that trick.
But if it's brown underneath, it means it's already overripe.
That sounds like a very useful piece of information.
It is, but some store managers do not like people pulling the stems off.
I can see why, because then all the avocados would be missing their stems.
Exactly. So it's another one of those slightly awkward things to do.
I think I will stick to the gentle squeeze for now.
That is probably safer for your reputation in the neighborhood.
Speaking of reputation, what about other fruits like mangoes?
Oh, mangoes are another big challenge for me.
They are so delicious when they're perfect, but so disappointing when they're sour.
Yes, a sour mango is a very sad experience.
And they are also quite expensive, so you really want to get a good one.
I find that mangoes are even harder to judge than avocados.
How do you choose them then?
I usually rely on the smell near the stem.
The smell? Really?
Yes, if it smells sweet and tropical, it's usually a good sign.
So you're that person sniffing the fruit in the store.
Yes, I am, and I'm proud of it.
I always feel too embarrassed to sniff things in public.
You should try it, Tom. It's actually the best way to choose many fruits.
I don't know, Emma. I feel like people would look at me strangely.
Let them look. You'll be the one laughing when you eat a delicious mango at home.
That is a very good point. A sweet mango is worth a little bit of embarrassment.
It definitely is. And the same goes for peaches and nectaries.
Oh, I love peaches in the summer, but they are so delicate.
They really are. They bruise if you even look at them too hard.
And if you buy them too hard, they sometimes never ripen properly.
Yes, they just become wrinkled and dry.
Why is buying fruit so complicated?
I think it's nature's way of keeping us on our toes.
Well, it's certainly working.
But it's not just fruit. Vegetables can be tricky too.
Really? Like what?
Well, think about onions or garlic.
Onions? I thought they were always the same.
No, you have to make sure they are firm and do not have any soft spots.
Oh, I see. Because a soft onion is usually rotting on the inside.
Yes, and that smell is something you never want to experience in your kitchen.
I agree. Rotten onion smell is incredibly strong and stays around for days.
So you see, every item in the produce section has its own little secret.
It's like learning a whole new language.
It really is, and that is why we're here to help our listeners learn both languages.
The English language and the grocery store language.
Exactly, Tom. Both are very useful for daily life.
I'm definitely learning a lot today.
Me too, just by talking about it with you.
It's nice to share these little daily struggles.
It makes you feel less alone in the world.
Especially when you're standing in front of a giant pile of green bananas.
Bananas are another classic topic.
Do you buy them green or yellow?
I always buy them slightly green.
Why is that?
Because I live alone, so if I buy them yellow, they all go brown before I can eat them.
That makes sense. Buying them green gives you more time.
Exactly. It's a strategic decision.
I usually buy a mix of green and yellow if I can find them.
That is a very smart strategy, Tom.
Thank you. I try my best.
But sometimes they only have completely green ones that look like they will never ripen.
Or they only have very brown ones that are only good for banana bread.
Yes, and then you have to change your plans.
That is the beauty of the grocery store. It keeps you flexible.
Or it just makes you frustrated.
That too. Definitely that too.
Now, Tom, let us move on to the heavyweights of the produce section.
You mean melons?
Yes, watermelons and cantaloupes are a whole different level of difficulty.
You really are, mostly because they are so big and heavy.
Yes, if you buy a bad watermelon, you have to carry a giant heavy fruit back home for nothing.
And then you have to figure out how to get rid of it.
It is a massive waste of energy and money.
So how do you handle watermelons, Emma?
Well, my rule of thumb is to look for a big yellow spot on the bottom.
A rule of thumb? So you mean a useful general guideline or a practical rule that people follow, right?
Yes, exactly. It is not a scientific law, but it is a very reliable guideline that usually works.
So what does the yellow spot mean?
It is called the field spot, and it is where the watermelon was resting on the ground while growing.
Oh, I see. So if it is yellow, it means it sat on the ground and ripened in the sun.
Yes, if the spot is white or green, it means it was picked too early.
That is a great tip. I will definitely look for that next time.
Another thing people do is tap on the watermelon with their knuckles.
Yes, I see people doing that all the time. They knock on it like it is a door.
They are listening for a hollow sound.
A hollow sound?
Yes, like a drum, which means it is full of water and juicy.
But to be honest, Emma, when I knock on a watermelon, they all sound exactly the same to me.
Me too,
Tom, I just do it to look like I know what I am doing.
I knew it. I knew people were just pretending.
It is all about confidence in the supermarket.
You just knock on it, nod your head seriously, and put it in your cart.
Exactly. You have to convince yourself and the people around you.
But there is actually another telltale sign of a good melon.
A telltale sign. Ah, so you mean an obvious or clear indicator that reveals the truth about something.
Yes, that is exactly what it means. A clear sign that gives you the answer.
So what is this sign for melons?
Well, for cantaloupes, it is the stem end.
Okay, what should we look for there?
It should be slightly indented and smell very sweet.
Ah, the smell test again.
Yes, and if the skin has a very raised, net-like pattern, that is also a good sign.
That makes sense. It shows the melon is mature.
But even with all these tips, I still second-guess myself every time.
Second guess. Ah, you mean you doubt or question your decision after you have already made it.
Yes, exactly. As soon as I put the melon in my cart, I start wondering if I should have picked the other one.
I do that too, especially when I see someone else picking a different one.
Yes, you look at their melon and think, oh, theirs looks much better than mine.
It is the classic produce envy.
Produce envy. I love that expression. It is so true.
We always want what we don't have.
Even when it comes to fruit.
Especially when it comes to fruit, because we want that perfect sweet taste.
I think the worst is when you buy a melon, cut it open, and it is completely white and tasteless.
Yes, it tastes like sweet water, but with no actual flavor.
It is incredibly disappointing.
But sometimes the supermarkets don't help us.
What do you mean?
Well, they use very specific lighting in the produce section.
Oh, the warm, bright lights?
Yes, they're designed to make everything look incredibly fresh and colorful.
So the red apples look redder and the yellow bananas look yellower?
Exactly. It is a visual trick to make us buy more.
And then when you get the fruit home under your normal kitchen lights, it looks completely different.
Yes, it looks much duller and less exciting.
That is actually quite sneaky of them.
It is smart marketing, but it makes our job as shoppers even harder.
No wonder we struggle so much.
We are fighting against science and marketing.
It really is a battle in the supermarket.
But we can win the battle with the right knowledge.
And by practicing our English at the same time.
Of course, that is the most important part.
I feel like I'm getting much better at both.
You are doing great, Tom.
Thank you, Emma. Your encouragement always helps.
We are a team. We have to support each other.
Especially in these difficult times of fruit selection.
Absolutely, Tom. Absolutely. All this talk about making difficult choices at the grocery store reminds me of how we use language to describe these daily challenges.
Yes, we used some really great natural phrases today that are very common in everyday English.
We did, and I want to make sure our listeners feel comfortable using them too.
Like when you mentioned your choice of avocados was hit or miss.
Yes, that is a perfect phrase for anything that is inconsistent or unpredictable.
You could say the weather this week has been really hit or miss.
Exactly. Some days are beautiful and sunny, and other days are rainy and cold.
Or you could say that a restaurant is hit or miss, meaning the food is sometimes great but sometimes terrible.
That is a very common way to use it, Tom.
And then we talked about fruit being ripe.
Yes, and while we usually use ripe for fruit, we can also use it in other ways.
Really? Like how?
Well, you can say the time is ripe for something, which means it is the perfect moment to do it.
Oh, like the time is ripe to start learning a new language.
Yes, that is a beautiful way to say it.
I like that a lot. It sounds very professional.
It is. And then we had our rule of thumb.
Right, the general guideline based on experience.
Yes, a good rule of thumb for learning English is to practice a little bit every day.
That is a very good rule of thumb indeed.
It is much better than trying to study for 10 hours in one day.
Definitely. Consistency is key.
And what about the phrase telltale sign?
That is when something is very obvious and shows the truth.
Yes, like dark clouds are a telltale sign of rain.
Or yawning is a telltale sign that someone is tired.
Exactly. It reveals what is happening underneath.
We also talked about second-guessing ourselves.
Yes, which is something we all do, not just with produce.
I always second-guess my clothes before I go out.
Do you really?
Yes, I look in the mirror and think, should I have worn the blue shirt instead?
I think everyone does that sometimes, Tom. It is very natural.
It is good to know I am not the only one.
And finally, we have one more phrase to discuss.
Ah, yes, the phrase spot on.
This is one of my favorite expressions.
Your explanation of the watermelon yellow spot was spot on.
Spot on? Ah, so you mean my explanation was completely correct and perfectly accurate, right?
Yes, exactly. You got it 100% right.
Thank you, Tom. That is a very nice compliment.
You can also use it when someone guesses something correctly.
Yes, like if you guessed my favorite fruit is strawberries, and I say, that is spot on.
These are all such useful phrases for daily life.
They really are, and using them makes your English sound so much more natural.
I'm going to try to use at least 3 of them today.
That is a great goal, Tom. Speaking of learning these phrases and keeping them in mind, it is always easier when you can read along with what we are saying.
Yes, did you know we have a PDF script available for all our episodes?
We do, and it is completely free to download.
That is amazing because you can use it to practice your listening and reading at the same time.
It is also great for shadowing, which is when you speak along with us to practice your pronunciation.
I highly recommend doing that. It really helps with your confidence.
You can find the link to the PDF in the description box below this video.
And it is also pinned in the very first comment, so it is easy to find.
While you are down there, please don't forget to subscribe to our channel.
And hit that little notification bell so you never miss a new lesson with us.
Your support really helps us to keep creating these lessons for you.
It really does. We appreciate every single one of you.
Thank you so much for being part of our global English family.
We love learning with you every week.
All right, and speaking of reviewing, before we say goodbye today, let us do a quick review of our 6 key vocabulary expressions.
This is my favorite part because it helps to lock the words in our memory.
Yes, repetition is very important for language learning.
So our first word today was hit or miss.
Right, which means unpredictable or inconsistent, like how some avocados are great and others are bad.
And then we had ripe, which means fully developed and ready to eat.
Yes, like a sweet, soft mango that is perfect for a snack.
Next was rule of thumb, which is a useful general guideline based on experience.
Like looking for the yellow spot on a watermelon to see if it is good.
Then we discussed telltale sign, which is an obvious or clear indicator of something.
Like a sweet smell near the stem of a melon showing it is ready.
Our 5th phrase was second guess, which means to doubt a decision you have already made.
Like wondering if you picked the right fruit after putting it in your cart.
And finally, we had spot on, which means completely correct or perfectly accurate.
Like when your friend guesses your favorite food perfectly.
We covered so many great things today, Emma.
We really did, Tom, and it was a lot of fun.
I will never look at an avocado the same way again.
Me neither. I think we are both produce experts now.
Well, maybe not experts, but we are definitely trying our best.
That is all we can do, Tom. What about you guys? How do you handle the high-stakes world of choosing produce at the grocery store? Do you have any special tricks for finding the perfect fruit or vegetable? Let us know your answers in the comments below. We really want to read them.
Yes, please share your stories with us, even the shopping failures.
Thank you so much for listening to Emma's English Talk today.
Keep practicing your English, and we will see you in our next episode.
Goodbye, everyone, and happy shopping.
Bye-bye.